The air was thick with humidity, the kind that clung to your skin like a second layer of clothing. Sam Carter adjusted his bandana and wiped the sweat from his brow as he studied the jungle trail ahead. Somewhere out there, amidst the tangle of green and the symphony of cicadas, lay the legendary Amber Crown, the treasure that had brought him to the Amazon. Beside him, Dr. Claire Reyes tightened her backpack straps and narrowed her gaze. As an archaeologist specializing in the myths of South America, Claire had spent years researching the Amber Crown's origins, a ceremonial artifact rumored to grant eternal wisdom to its keeper. Her expertise was invaluable, but Sam couldn't shake the tension between them. Claire wasn't thrilled about teaming up with a treasure hunter like him, but fate had thrown them together. The Crown's mythical map, which was actually an intricate series of riddles scrawled on a centuries-old parchment, required both their skill sets to decipher. Claire muttered as she pulled the parchment from its protective case. The sun kisses its twin, and the river whispers the secret path. She squinted at it, her dark curls bouncing as she shook her head. That could mean anything. Sam shrugged, scanning the jungle canopy for signs. Could mean anything, sure. Or it could mean something right in front of us. Sun kisses its twin? What if it's talking about twin trees? Maybe there's a pair of sunlit trees near the river. Claire wasn't convinced, but the distant sound of moving water was their only lead. Without another word, they started walking. The jungle wasn't kind. Vines snagged their boots and insects buzzed relentlessly around their ears. Suddenly, Claire froze. Sam followed her gaze and saw the jaguar, sleek, golden, and deadly, perched on a low branch just 10 feet away. Its eyes gleamed like molten amber, muscles rippling as it prepared to pounce. Every fiber of Sam's being screamed at him to run, but he knew better. Slowly, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Back away! No sudden moves! They retreated step by step, their breaths shallow. But just as they thought they were clear, a rustling noise came from behind. A troop of curious Capuchin monkeys chattering and jumping between branches. The jaguar's head snapped toward the commotion, and in a flash, it sprang! Run! Sam shouted, grabbing Claire's arm. They sprinted through the underbrush, narrowly dodging low-hanging vines. The jaguar was close behind, but the cacophony of squawking birds and breaking branches suggested it was losing interest. Finally, they burst into a clearing, gasping for air. You were saying something about working together, right? Claire said, panting, a trace of humor breaking through her fear. Sam chuckled despite himself. Lesson number 1. Watch your back in the jungle! A wide river stretched before them, its surface shimmering under the midday sun. Then Sam saw it. A pair of identical ceiba trees on the far bank, their tops lit by a beam of sunlight splitting through the jungle canopy. The sun kisses its twin, he said triumphantly. Looks like I was right. Claire raised an eyebrow but didn't argue. Together they fashioned a crude raft from fallen logs and set off across the river, eyes scanning the waters for crocodiles. But the real danger wasn't in the river. It was watching them from the foliage. Hidden in the shadows was Dominic Dom Vega, the ruthless leader of a rival treasure-hunting team. Known for his cunning and lack of scruples, Dom had been following Sam and Claire since day 1. He had his own map, though incomplete, and he needed them to uncover the Crown's location. Flanked by his lieutenant, a wiry tracker named Eliza Crane, Dom smirked as he watched them float downstream. Let them solve the puzzles, he said, his voice low and gravelly. We'll take the Crown when they do. Unaware of their pursuers, Sam and Claire reached the twin trees. There they discovered a mosaic of carved symbols embedded in the bark, an elaborate puzzle that appeared to be the next clue. Claire crouched low, tracing the carvings with her fingers. These symbols are astronomical, she murmured. Looks like they represent different positions of the sun throughout the year. Sam squinted at the carvings. Any idea how we solve it? Claire replied, glancing up. See? That one. A face surrounded by rays that has to be midsummer, and over there the crescent. That's winter solstice. Together, they adjusted the mosaic, shifting pieces until the symbols aligned with the day's date. There was a soft rumble, and the ground beneath the tree roots began to crack, revealing a stone staircase descending into darkness. Claire glanced at Sam and smirked. Lesson number 2. Archaeologists are handy to have around. The staircase led into an underground chamber, its walls lined with golden reliefs depicting the legends of the Amber Crown. At its center was a pedestal, but it was empty. Another puzzle awaited them, an elaborate mechanism involving gears, pulleys, and inscriptions in an ancient dialect. Of course, Sam sighed. Why can't treasure hunts ever be straightforward? As they examined the mechanism, Dom and Eliza crept closer, descending the staircase silently. But they weren't as stealthy as they thought. Claire spotted movement in the shadows and grabbed Sam's arm. He turned just as Dom stepped into the light, a pistol glinting in his hand. Thanks for leading us here, Dom said smugly. Now step aside. Sam snorted. You do realize this is a puzzle, right? Unless you're fluent in ancient dialects, you're not going anywhere. Dom narrowed his eyes. Then you solve it and hand over the crown when you do. The tension was palpable. Claire's fingers twitching as she glanced between the treasure hunters and the mechanism. Thinking fast, Claire whispered to Sam, urging him to stall their adversaries. Sam responded, moving to the mechanism with deliberate gestures, feigning uncertainty as he fiddled with the gears. Meanwhile, Claire slid behind a column, inching closer to Eliza. Before anyone could react, Claire lunged, knocking Eliza's pistol from her grasp and kicking it into a corner. Chaos erupted as Sam tackled Dom, the rival hunter's weapon, firing harmlessly into the ceiling. Claire dodged Eliza's wild swings, landing a solid elbow to her ribs. But Dom was strong, and with a swift blow, he sent Sam sprawling backward. Enough games, Dom shouted, grabbing Claire by the arm. Solve the puzzle or... A loud cracking noise interrupted him. The mechanism had shifted unexpectedly, revealing a hidden passage. In the confusion, Sam and Claire threw their weight into Dom, sending him and Eliza tumbling against the wall. Quick! Claire yelled. Sam grabbed her hand, and they plunged into the passage as Dom shouted threats behind them. The passageway wound deeper underground, opening into a cavern lit by flickering torches. And there it was, the Amber Crown resting atop a gilded altar. Sam and Claire approached cautiously, both awestruck by the artifact's radiant amber jewels. But the sight wasn't empty. On the far side of the chamber stood a massive anaconda, coiled menacingly as its tongue flicked the air. Claire froze. Sam grabbed a broken torch from the ground, waving it to keep the serpent at bay. Lesson number 3, he said through gritted teeth. Always bring a weapon. The anaconda hissed, its tail sweeping dangerously close. With careful teamwork, they distracted the snake long enough to retrieve the crown. Together, they dashed back up the staircase, sunlight spilling onto their faces as they escaped the labyrinth below. But Dom wasn't done. He and Eliza stood at the tree line, rearmed and furious. Sam grinned, clutching the artifact. Before Dom could fire, the jungle itself intervened. A startled herd of peccaries stormed through the clearing, scattering the rival hunters and leaving Sam and Claire a moment to escape. As they sprinted toward their boat, Claire laughed for the first time. Sam nodded, handing her the Amber Crown. And the last lesson? Some treasures are best shared.